Weighted balls are either going to make you throw harder or they are going to blow you out. Those are really kind of your two main options there. I know that's kind of a controversial take, but what I want to do in this video is go over who's going to benefit from weighted balls, why you should do weighted balls, who should not do weighted balls, a couple other things in there as well, but also my experience with them. So I've run probably a couple thousand weighted ball programs, and I've seen everything from guys increasing their ability to go make a ton of money through a major league contract to guys ending their careers. So the best way to do things is learn from someone else's mistakes. So I'm going to try to just leapfrog you guys in that experience. So weighted balls are one of the most argued about tools in pitching development. Some groups swear by them. Some groups hate them with a passion. The truth is that both of those groups are right. Neither one of those is wrong, because there's a point in time that, yes, a player is going to benefit from a weighted ball. And I've used them at every single level. Well, not every single level. I don't really use them at all, period, with young players. And there's a big reason for that. But as the athlete's getting older, as they're needing a little bit more velocity, that's where they're going to really kind of hit their mark on who's going to benefit. So how are they going to help, right? So used right, weighted balls are a fantastic way to get some velocity. Now, the way that they're building velocity is one of two ways. Is they're either building in arm speed or arm elasticity. So when it comes to arm speed, that's where we're underweighting the ball. We're trying to work arm speed, get the nervous system to work faster. We're overspeeding, just like if someone's putting a band on someone and they're running a sprint or running down a hill, it's going to be overspeed training. So does that help? Yes, right? But the reality of it, of working speed training, is it's just like sprints. Like if you're trying to increase your sprint speed by, X percent, that's not the easiest thing to do. Can it be done? 100%. It can be done. You can run faster, you can throw faster, you can do all these things, but building in arm speed, especially as you get older, is a very difficult process to go through. Now, the other way of it is using an overweight ball, which is going to build arm elasticity. So it's going to build that layback, similar to a long toss. Like I talked about long toss in a previous video. So long toss helps build that arm layback, which both are good things, right? So for the right athlete at the right time, either one of those things can be a fantastic fix. So for, an older athlete who is, losing a little bit of that velocity, maybe that arm speed work is exactly where he wants to go to it. For the younger athlete, when I say younger, I mean an athlete who's, 17, 18 years old. I still consider that pretty dang young. Or even a college player who's needing the extra 2, 3, 4 miles an hour and he's lacking layback or he's lacking arm speed. Finding a good blend between those two things can work extremely well. But also, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You need to understand where it is you're at. You need to be testing. You need to know where that athlete's current strength and range of motion is. And just like going back to the long toss video I filmed a couple weeks back, if you really pay attention to that information and you understand that if you're building range of motion on that external layback, and you don't have the strength to do it, you're probably going to be setting yourself up for more injury risk than you are any real benefit. So how can weighted balls hurt you? And there's a couple different ways that they can. So obviously the first one there, everyone always likes to talk about how, a weighted baseball heavier is actually putting less stress on the arm. Technically, yes, but also the time on tension is going to change as well. So what I mean by that is, every time you throw a ball, there is going to be force on shoulder, elbow, biceps, triceps, everything, right? Even your hips, right? Everything's going to have some form of force going across that. But we also need to understand the time on tension. So if I'm throwing a regular baseball, and again, these numbers aren't going to be right, but we're just going to use these for an example, right? So we're going to say that it takes half a second from, layback to release, and that puts, X force on the arm over that half second. But if we're throwing a 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 pound ball, whatever it's going to be, that's going to be less force because the arm's moving slower. Yes, arm speed is always going to put more force on that segment, right? But as we're increasing that, it's going to go from, we'll say, a half second to 1 second. Again, these numbers aren't right. I'm just giving you general rules just to understand what I'm saying. So now we're dispersing that 1 pound force over a longer period of time. So is the stress going to be lower? Yes, we're going to have lower stress because the arm's moving slower, but we're also distributing that force in a new way the body's not used to, because the time on tension for connective tissue, muscles, bones, everything, right, is going to be different. So that's why it's so important from the overweight ball standpoint of things that we have a very good strength process that we're in place. So we make sure the shoulder's balanced. If we know where that's at, you can actually adjust weighted balls to benefit what it is you're trying to do. And on the light ball side, your arm's going to be moving faster. So you're going to be spiking force higher. So now instead of that, for the 5 ounce ball, we'll say again, that half second full range there. If we go to 4 ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounce, whatever it is we're using, we're actually compressing that force to a much higher ratio. So we're going to be moving the arm faster for most guys. Some guys throw lighter balls slower, which is going to be another clue for things, how you want to move things. But as you see that force spike, because the arm's moving faster, it's now compressed. So your tissues are absorbing that force differently. So again, some guys really struggle. This is just now going into like a weight training aspect of it, is if you have a guy lifting heavy weight quick, some of those guys really struggle in terms of handling that new adaptation. Some guys do really well with it. Some guys really struggle with eccentric slow movement. So depending on how your body handles stuff is going to kind of determine how it adjusts to what it is you're asking it to do. So the deciding factor in weighted balls, a large portion of it is going to be your age. Number one, like Arm Care, for instance, they have, I'm wearing their shirt, Arm Care. They have a really good process. You can download a PDF off their website for a checklist of whether you do qualify for a weighted ball program. So with that, if you're doing one, you do have to be monitoring. You have to understand how those time on tensions are going to go. You have to understand that it's different joint loading. Even if it is lower stress, it's still stress different than what your body's used to. So those are just a couple things right there. And the big takeaway that I want guys to kind of pull from this is they're not good, they're not bad. There's just a right time for you to do them and mess with them. Now, the other thing too is if you're a player who already throws with a ton of velocity, like for instance, I have a player getting looked at by a bunch of SEC schools, Big 12, Conference USA, NIL money type stuff, and he's already been up to that 98 miles an hour. He doesn't need to be throwing weighted balls to try to gain velo, right? Obviously, everyone wants to throw harder, but also be realistic about it. If you're already throwing well above average, you're already getting players out, you're already in a good position, you're getting college offers, what do you really have to gain by the 1 or 2 miles an hour for the risk versus reward? Now, if you are a high school player who's a junior or a senior, you don't have any offers on the table, and you're stuck at 72 miles an hour, 77, 80, 81, and you're not getting any offers and looks, then yeah, a weighted ball program is probably going to make a lot of sense for you. And on the other hand of that too, let's say you're a freshman and you're throwing in those lower velocities, a weighted ball program does not make sense for you because you probably just need a general strength protocol. You need to get better in shape. You probably need to work on some general speed training to set the base. So when you want to do a weighted ball program, if you need to do a weighted ball program, then all of a sudden it's going to make sense for you to actually do that. So that's where, for everything, you need to understand where you're at. You need to have the tools to assess it, because weighted balls can make or break you in a very positive way or a very negative way. So that's the other thing too, is just make sure you're doing all these things that make a ton of sense. So it's never a blanket statement. It's never a one size fits all of weighted balls are terrible or weighted balls are the best thing since sliced bread, right? So it's got to fit your context. It's got to fit your need. But most importantly, you don't know unless you assess yourself. So if you have questions, feel free to email me, jordan@pitchingsystems.com. We'll make sure we answer your questions, or leave a comment. Tell me what it is you want to go over, and we'll keep making the videos.